I made 41,700 US dollars by not speaking on sales calls, and this might sound like the weirdest title ever, but let me explain it. So, firstly, the 41,700 comes from the average amount that we charge per client. If you didn't know, and now you know. And by not speaking on sales calls, obviously I don't just sit there on mute the entire call. But what I do want to share in this video are some of the major lessons that I've learned in sales, in charging high ticket prices, and it revolves around not speaking. Most people say and do too much on calls and in life, honestly. So you can actually apply this in life too. But if you are charging high ticket, so at least 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, or you want to be charging these amounts, then watch this video because I'm going to explain some of the lessons that I've learned in order to do this and how you can do the same. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Ethan Welby. I'm the founder of Agency Growth Partner. It is a growth partnership for marketing agencies to help them build out a client acquisition system that allows them to predictably, systematically sign new clients every single month, every single week, or even in some cases every single day. So if you want more info on that, you can just check the description. But to start with the actual video, the first component of being able to make this amount, 41,000, on these sales calls without speaking, is not trying to sound smart, right? One of the biggest mistakes that I personally made, and I see a lot of other people making in life and in sales, is that they try to sound smart. They try to sound smart and it's to their detriment, right? It's not beneficial to try and sound smart because if you try to sound smart, you try to use these big words, you try to, words that you don't even know, most people don't even know what these words mean, but they use it anyways. But they use it not to get the point across, but to try and get the point or to try and position yourself as like the smart guy. But the thing is, in sales, in marketing, in advertising, your goal shouldn't be to try and sound smart. It should be to sound clear. Because if you try to sound smart, you don't get the point across. And your goal is to get the point across. So this actually comes, and I learned this from an advertising principle. When I was writing up ads, when I was writing up email copy, marketing copy, I learned that it's not beneficial to sound smart because if you try to use these big words, 50%, 60%, 70% of people don't even understand what you're saying. So if only 30% understands, then you're missing out on the audience of 70% of the people. And you might be saying like, yeah, I only want to attract the smart people. But the thing is, it's universal. So even the smartest people, they want to read the simplest things just so that they can get the point, because they're not reading for the words. They're reading for the lessons. They're learning, or they're reading to get the point. So if you're trying to sell your product, it's actually beneficial to make it as simple as possible. And I'm talking about like the pitch or the explanation of it. So when I sell my services, I'm not like, we set up this advanced robotic nuclear physics, whatever stuff. I just say, firstly, you need something that people want. You need a great offer. And the problem is most agencies look like every single other agency. So we build out a new offer to allow you to stand out, charge more, increase your prices. It's the same thing. Book more meetings, sign more clients, all of that. I'm not trying to sound smart. I'm just saying exactly what we do in the simplest terms possible. And believe me, this works because they understand it. You just have to be extremely logical about it. The second mistake that I see all these agency owners making is also sharing too much on sales calls. They just overshare things. So people will ask a question and it's a simple question like, do you use LinkedIn in your outreach? Right? People have asked me this in the past and I used to overshare all the time. So they'd ask like, do you use LinkedIn in your outreach? It's a yes or no question. So they would ask that and I'd be like, we've tested all these methods and what I found is that LinkedIn is the optimal one for marketing agencies to scale up. And I've also found that you can use this connection strategy to get in here to get an extra 10 connections every single month. And they were like, dude, it's a yes or no question. So all I had to say was yes. But instead I gave this entire long explanation on, LinkedIn strategy. And why this is detrimental, because, and you can apply this anyway, the more you say, the more you give the opportunity to firstly open up the thing for more questions. So if you talk about all these other things, now they're just even more confused. So now they have more questions. And the second thing is that the more you speak, the more you have the opportunity to say something dumb. Really, that's the case. So if you are trying to sound smart, you're saying way too much, you open up the door to just, say something dumb to lose the sale. So again, look for places where you are oversharing in your sales process specifically. So if people are asking you a question, what you can do, and what I do now, is I like to ask, hey, that's a great question. Just out of curiosity, why do you ask? Then you can understand the root cause of why they're actually asking the question, and then give a simple, basic answer that answers it well, and that removes any concern that they might have. Because they could be asking about LinkedIn, right? Do you use LinkedIn outreach? Because they just hired a LinkedIn outreach agency and they gave the worst service possible, and now they just have this fear of LinkedIn. But if I didn't ask, cool, so why do you ask? Then they wouldn't have the opportunity to share that they've had a bad experience. And if they don't share that they've had a bad experience, then I might be saying, yes, LinkedIn is the best option, but they have these bad beliefs about it. So if they tell me that, then I can break these beliefs by saying, oh, we'll do it differently because of this. Now, I know these points might not interrelate, but I'm just trying to share as much as I can on this point, because I made a lot of mistakes, too many to count, honestly. So I just want to make sure you don't make the same ones that I made. And that perfectly transitions into the third point that I wanted to mention, is that you want to understand why people are asking the questions that they ask. So behind every question is, or are, many reasons, right? They have reasons for asking the question, every single one. So when people ask, do you use LinkedIn? Or do you use email? Or how does this thing work? It's totally fine to ask them, that's a great question, I'll answer it right now. I just want to understand why you're asking the question. Or like just ask why. Just ask, why are they asking this? And this is going to give you so much insight as to, what their actual concerns are, what their desires are. Because they might have been holding back information the entire call, not purposefully, just because you didn't ask. So they could have been working with a LinkedIn agency right now. So if you tell them, so for example, if they ask, do you use LinkedIn in your outreach methods? And I said, yes, it's the best one. And then they say, okay, cool. We actually have a LinkedIn outreach agency doing this for us already, so we don't need your services. Then I just fumbled the whole thing. I just fumbled the whole call, right? As opposed to me asking why, and then they say, because I have this agency. And I say, okay, cool. Well, we do email as well. We do Instagram as well. We do content as well. So that's actually not a concern at all. We can just use these other methods while the agency works on that side. You see, that will lead to a totally different outcome. So in your calls, and again, these are all holistic principles. Like, you can use these anyway. Don't overshare. If someone asks a question, just say enough to get the answer across. If people are asking you questions, understand why they are asking the question so that you can address it in the most effective manner. And thirdly, don't try to sound smart. Just try to get the point across, because people don't really care how smart you sound. People just want to get the point that you're trying to convey, because they don't care if you sound smart, because they don't, people don't really care about you. They just care about what can they gain from this interaction. So if you can get the point across, whether that's in sales, whether that's in your marketing, whether that's in your advertising, that will allow you to get the people to take the action that you want them to take, which is, buying or clicking or signing up or watching the video. So all of these lessons and, an entire sales process, all of this is what we actually implement for our clients, our growth partner clients. If you want more info on that, how we can build that out for you, build out the acquisition system, you can just check the description. But other than that, I hope you found this video useful, and I will talk to you in the next one.